In this video, I invited the founder of BriteBirch Collective, Jamie Reed, to share insights together on becoming visionary founders. BriteBirch is a global network of creative consultants operated as an integrated agency. So Jamie, very happy to have you here today. Would you introduce yourself and what you do? Who are you to our audience?
Sure. Thank you, Jennifer. So my name's Jamie Reed. I am the founder and CEO of the BriteBirch Collective, which is, as you said, a full service marketing agency that provides big agency solutions, but without the big agency prices or the complexity. We can do this because we're made up of over 200 specialist marketers from around the world. And so we can curate the exact team that is needed to solve our clients' marketing and sales challenges. We work primarily with B2B companies around the world that are, looking to scale into new markets, redefine their brand and business for the future, or create campaigns and content that drive business results.
That's fantastic. I am one of your members, Jamie.
Yes, you are.
So what triggered today's conversation is, I mentioned to you, I typically work with visionary founders. And you asked me, what I mean specifically about this, the term visionary founders, and you aspire to become one yourself. And, so do I. So I remember when we first met, you mentioned how you started BriteBirch. So I remember you said your background is PR agencies. You worked with PR agencies, worked in a PR agency. Usually when clients come to you, the strategy decision was already made. What if that strategy is the wrong strategy? And, what if there is a better way? So that was the origin of you starting BriteBirch.
Right. Yeah. So just going back to, our original conversation about visionary founders, I do recognize that BriteBirch's concept is rather novel, but I don't necessarily think that's enough, for me to be considered a visionary founder yet. But to be a visionary is to, I think, inspire others to believe in you and your ideas. I'd love to be considered as a visionary founder one day, but for now, I'm eager actually really just to learn from you, another visionary founder, but also a lot of the people that you bring onto your program. I've been really enjoying them. So, just wanted to give you that feedback. I think before what I was explaining about where BriteBirch came from, what I meant was that like traditional agencies are set up based on a specific channel or marketing discipline. So you're a digital agency, or you're a creative agency, or a PR agency, or you can be a specialist like healthcare agency and things like that, right? And so they're usually quite narrow in their ability to address, specific areas of expertise. But what used to bother me working in these agencies is that when a client had a challenge, right? When I worked in a PR agency, we would try to solve it with PR. And when I worked in an ad agency, we would try to solve it with advertising. And social media marketing agencies, guess how they would approach the problem, right? So
Yeah.
I was in Singapore at the time, and I kind of saw the way that the world was moving towards a decentralized workforces. The gig economy was picking up, and I wanted to keep doing, big integrated and complex marketing projects. But when you're by yourself as a freelancer, it's, obviously you can't do it all by yourself. So I thought, well, what if we can recreate all the things that are great about big agencies, like working with cool people from around the world, diverse ideas, and a common culture that we can all sort of,
Yep.
attach ourselves to, but without all the stuff that, everyone hates about big agencies, such as the hidden fees and the commoditization of time and thinking, as well as the bait and switch that happens where you're like in a pitch, and clients know this very well, that agencies will roll out all their big, smart, talented, experienced people, but then once the work is awarded, you're basically left with junior people that don't know much about your industry or your account.
Yeah.
So that's how the idea of BriteBirch really came about, was just, thinking about what what could be changed and what's available now in the world with technology and the way people want to work.
Yep.
And so BriteBirch was formed.
Yeah. So to me, like becoming visionary founders, all of us are on the road. It is a journey and not a destination. So you already started from a grand view. Like to me, vision, the word vision is future state. So, you already see a problem in the industry and are solving it. So, that you already have a grand destination, like, vision in mind. And that's a trait of a visionary founder for me. So with people who already have a future state in mind, um, a vision, my question is always, what's the next step for you to move that needle? So yeah, like you mentioned, I know like you are doing a lot of things, and in the sense of the new year, welcome to 2024. Um, what are you? What are your plans? Specific
Great,
plans?
great question. I mean, well, any innovation or disruptive business model will go through some ups and downs over the 4 years that we've been operating as BriteBirch Collective. We've learned, I think, three major things, three major core challenges that we continue to try to address. And this year we have some specific things planned out to try to address those. The first is that we have this concept of a client architect who is sort of at the same time a client lead, but also a team lead, right? And so they sit at the center of the business for our clients. They're both a project manager and they also are meant to understand the ins and outs of the client. And until recently, we were mostly outsourcing that, like as part of the team, right? Another freelancer who was senior would be the one that would hub that project. But we did find that, we realized if we a big part of our brand is the experience that clients have. And when
Mm-hmm.
that is inconsistent and the person, who's centralized and hubbing the work is different every time and maybe has a different approach and has a different sort of way of doing things, it's not as easy to kind of maintain that consistency. So we've realized that if we're going to actually ever have employees, that this is probably the role we should bring in-house because it's directly affecting our brand and what clients expect from our service. So we plan on focusing on expanding this role and perfecting the scope and expectations, and then hiring as we
Mm-hmm.
continue to scale. So that's one. The second thing is around the community.
Mm-hmm.
So identifying, vetting, and inviting over 200 like-minded people from around the world doesn't automatically mean that everyone will be engaged and continuously adding value back into the collective. This is something I took for granted, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Community building and management is a full-time job. And so we're going to introduce some new
Yes.
ways for our community to thrive this year and to find more value within the BriteBirch Collective themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing is really down to our membership specifically. So when we
Mm-hmm.
started, we emphasized the importance of having experienced industry veterans with a minimum of 10 years experience. And part of this was actually quite selfish because on my part, I wanted BriteBirch to be easy to manage. And
Mm-hmm.
when the team is built with people that know what they're doing, it makes my job easier too, right? So I can just kind of let
Mm-hmm.
people get on with their work.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older and many of our members are getting older because we all have, lots of years of experience behind us, I
Mm-hmm.
realize that we're not always in touch with, what's coming up or, if clients
Mm-hmm.
want a TikTok campaign, I don't think I'm the right person you should be talking to. So
Mm-hmm.
we have this experience, but we want to be able to leverage it the right way. So this year we're more formally launching our BriteBirch Academy, which is an open community of marketers who have recently entered the world of freelancing. So recent
Mm-hmm.
graduates, marketers looking for more experience, people that maybe have never freelanced before.
Yeah.
And we plan on providing mentorship through our senior members while also getting access to paid work through our existing projects. And with that youth and with that sort of more diverse group, we expect that it will help to build engagement in the community. And so BriteBirch and our clients will also benefit because they'll have eager, qualified junior members, providing a lot of the value at a lower cost. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And I just want to say that if anyone's listening to this year, we do plan on expanding this group. And if you're interested in joining our pilot program, please reach out, because, you know, whether you're on mat leave and looking for a side hustle, there's lots of reasons why people might want to try marketing and get into marketing, or have some experience, but maybe don't have an opportunity to go work in a big corporation or agency. This is a great way for them to get the training and the experience while also doing real work and getting paid for it.
Yeah, what I heard is you put your clients, our clients, in the center. Then all we do, like all of those strategic focus, are supporting that client-centered goal. And I'm also just reminded that, you know, we need a champion team, not a team full of champions. Because that, yeah, I've had that reflection myself. So those two are different things. A team full of champions and a champion team are different. And a champion team will support our client very well. So that's that. And to me, like visionary founders, you know, there are two types, high level. One is a kind like you already have a vision. Some of my clients, you know, good for them. They had very early success while they don't know how they succeed. Usually start something very small, and you know, small and beautiful can expand and scale, right? Then when they reach to a certain point, you know, because they didn't start from a vision, like something very small works. Then when they reach a certain point, if you know that vision, you need to have that vision in place, is because you need to communicate to your employees, to your stakeholders, like suppliers, you know, your community. Then you need a vision to bring people along, because you know, with more people, we go further. And for them, that's when they need really to set up a vision. So very different paths, but you know, all paths lead to Rome. So there's no like one way to succeed, to me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You also mentioned that, you know, successful leadership hinges on continuous self-improvement, and authentic engagement with others. Maybe, you know, you can elaborate on that a little bit.
That has been my reflection for, you know, several years being an entrepreneur. I was thinking about Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. Like everybody thinks about of changing the world, but nobody thinks about changing himself. So that gave me a lot of self-awareness. Is, you know, one thing I understand, like what you think you can do and what you can actually do. There is a gap, a huge gap actually. So I'm reminding myself all the time. So that's one point. Another one is, I think our ultimate goal is self-actualization, right? That transcendence. But when I realize is, you know, you cannot transcend for something you haven't mastered. You know, that gets me grounded, like to do it, you know, balance like day-to-day realities with that bigger vision. I do have a vision of like building the destination of cross-culture innovation destination. But then I'm not there yet. So yeah, I'm sharing with you like what I found is before, like, you know, when I get like resistance or no from people, you know, that just increased my fear and self-doubt. Now my mindset has shifted to, you know, the resources or people you can work with are actually infinite. So I just need to keep going and find my tribe, people like you. Authentic engagement. And also, you know, something like and also my another mindset shift for me is there are no bad employees. just bad leadership. So everybody has value. You just need to know how to allocate that, and how to work with that, that particular person. So yeah, those
Yeah.
what those are what I meant by authentic engagement with others. What I've learned.
That's very true. One of the benefits of BriteBirch, though, is that I think there are sometimes some bad employees, or there's some employees that are maybe toxic. Maybe they're not bad,
Yeah,
but they just have the wrong
yeah,
attitude. The,
yeah.
the beauty about
Or
BriteBirch again,
you don't use them, so that's a position that you can take.
yeah. I
They are
mean,
valuable to others
exactly. And I'm in a
in different
BriteBirch's
ways.
model again allows me to choose who's part of the collective, right? And we do have a code of conduct, and we do ensure that people behave by a certain ethical standard, that they behave, that they buy into the concept of teamwork and that they can come together. Because I sometimes think of it as those high school projects where you're kind of forced to work with other group members, and there's always one person that does like 90% of the work and everyone else is just taking credit for it.
Yeah,
We can't have those kinds of things happen when we bring these different freelancers together. So, but
yeah,
to your other point too, I mean, you're quoting Leo Tolstoy, but I, uh, I like Mike Tyson's famous quote that, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face. And
totally.
I try to set goals and identify pathways to success, but it's important also, and the word that I think we hear a lot more about in business these days is resiliency, right? You need to be a flexible and adaptable and fluid in your thinking, because now opportunities and new avenues will open themselves up to you. And as long as they can keep pointing you in the right direction, then you can't be afraid to deviate, because the path of least resistance is usually the path that's available. And it
Yeah,
may not be the path you planned, but if it's available, then you shouldn't say no to that. And you should try it and see where it takes you. And you're right,
yeah,
everything leads to Rome eventually. As long as you have your vision and you're trying to achieve that, then everything should work its way there eventually.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's an interesting world we live.
Yeah, and I just thought about another term. It's not so much about emotional intelligence. To me, like as entrepreneurs or founders, it's more about emotional resilience. That's that. And then let's not forget about money. That's the blood, the blood supply to a business operations. So you mentioned, you wanted to share insights on how like BriteBirch deal with this capital issue.
Well, I mean, capital is an issue for every young business, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a problem is, you know, or not is I guess the question. But yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, I'm a creative minded person. I'm a creative, like I did creative writing, and my background is
Yeah.
much more in like words, not numbers. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually quite terrified of numbers, and so that's why I've
Yeah.
partnered with an experienced CFO very early on with BriteBirch, so I
Mm-hmm.
can focus on, driving the business and focusing on what my strengths are, which are, leading the teams and helping
Mm-hmm.
clients to think through these big marketing challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing too is like BriteBirch's unique model is designed to take out the risk for our business, and for the collective as well as a whole, because I don't have employees. So if we have less work, then it just means that I work with fewer collective members, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if we have more work, then we can scale infinitely. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't have any outside investments within BriteBirch, because we can grow organically, and we have been
Mm-hmm.
growing organically year on year.
Mm-hmm.
That gives us a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility
Yeah.
in how we want to invest and build the business in the ways that we see are most valuable.
Yeah.
So we're not just
And
going
you don't
after those.
have a huge like overhead so that you can pass on that benefit to your clients.
Exactly, exactly. So our model is we call it an infinite sum model, where the
Mm-hmm.
traditional agencies were zero sum, right? You either win the project or you lose the project. You're
Mm-hmm.
either a winner within the agency or you're a loser within the agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like that's, when big agencies win, the clients tend to lose. They're the ones paying through the teeth for all these fancy Christmas parties and offices that they don't
Mm-hmm.
get to enjoy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
our value is in collecting in a collective knowledge cloud, right? In the experience of
Mm-hmm.
our in the diversity of our thought. When
Mm-hmm.
clients work with us, what they get isn't just a curated team of experts delivering marketing services. They get access to, over 200 unique experienced minds who provide
Mm-hmm.
perspectives on their business, on
Mm-hmm.
their industry. And when you have more perspective, right, in this day and age, you can make better decisions. The world is just changing so fast.
Yeah.
There's always new problems. We have, culture now that cancels people for saying the wrong things or doing the wrong things. So
Mm-hmm.
businesses are kind of locked in fear a lot of the time these days. They're afraid to
Mm-hmm.
take action. But if you
Yeah.
don't
And
take action,
uncertainties.
the world will pass you by, right? Like think of
Yeah.
AI right now. If your business isn't dabbling in some of these new tools, I mean, you're going to find yourself way behind in the future. So,
Mm-hmm.
but people are afraid of these new tools because
Yeah.
they're coming about too quickly. So, we believe that perspective unlocks so much opportunity for businesses, because
Mm-hmm.
with perspective you can make better business decisions, you can protect yourself from being canceled and ensure that all of your stakeholders are considered. You can spend more wisely on what matters most, right? In a dynamic
Mm-hmm.
world. So for
Mm-hmm.
us, the power of perspective is what it's all about at BriteBirch. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, I think, in addition to obviously bringing financial benefits to clients and passing on the
Mm-hmm.
savings that we can bring because we don't have overheads.
Mm-hmm.
We also identify that the value is in the people and in the diversity of our thought.
Mm-hmm. So it's just you allocating, um, we say like money or capital, limited resources differently, and also in an agile operation.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone gets to choose, we don't dictate our pricing to our members, right? They're all
Mm-hmm.
experts. They know what they're doing, but we take
Mm-hmm.
we work it all together and we create a cohesive plan of
Mm-hmm.
action that everyone buys
Mm-hmm.
into. And
Mm-hmm.
and so our members also get, they get what they're worth as well. And so we don't,
Mm-hmm.
we just sort of play this role of easing easing the work for clients. So when you work with a
Mm-hmm.
traditional agency, right, that agency can only do one part, and then you have to go find another agency. Or if you work with freelancers, it's like you go to Fiverr or Upwork, you don't know if these people can work together. You don't know if they're even
Yeah.
good at what they do. And so you're
Yeah. You
hurting
still
cats and
need some kind of structure.
yeah, and you've got 10
Mm-hmm.
invoices you got to deal with, right? As opposed
Yeah.
to when you work with BriteBirch, you get the flexibility and the that you would expect from freelancing, and we can be agile and nimble, and we can work directly inside your organization with you
Mm-hmm.
hand in hand with your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it's the value is really put back on the clients, and they get so much out of it that is more than you would ever expect from a big
Mm-hmm.
agency.
Mm-hmm. That ties back to what I said earlier, like welcome to 2024. To me, this is a year of transformation. I feel like it's for so many of us as well. Welcome to the new era, uh, right, of doing things.
Companies are realizing maybe we don't need to have these silos. Maybe we don't need to have such rigid structure within organizations. Maybe we just need to organize ourselves differently. And we're starting to see that change, and it's going to keep happening.
Let's witness the progress and the evolvement of the world. I always have this fun facts sharing before I end every video. So I looked up the term visionary. It originated in the mid 15th century, so denoting someone with exceptional foresight. The foresight is the kind of futuristic view, right? We talk about how our industry will evolve, um, and many successful visionaries like Steve Jobs, they combine intense creativity with a strong sense of realism. So somebody once said, a dream without a date is BS. I don't know who said that, but let's remind ourselves about that. If we have a vision, the next question is always what's next? What are the next steps you're going to do to move the needles?
Hmm.
And Yeah, so visionary leaders often exhibit high levels of emotional intelligence. Because of our sharing today, so I was thinking about another term, emotional resilience too. So thank you so much, Jamie,
No,
for
well,
today's
thank you for having
conversation.
me. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for having me. And thank you for being an active member of the BriteBirch Collective also.
Yeah, well, by all means. Thank you. Until next time,
Okay.
remember, the path of a visionary founder is not only about destination, but also the journey of continuous growth and adaptation. Where are you in your journey? Please don't hesitate to share with us. Until next time, stay visionary and keep balancing your dreams with reality.